Hello, everybody. I want to invite you to join us at the California Capitol June 11th and 12th. We're at a pivotal time in California politics. Beginning in January with the LA fires, things politically in California are becoming really interesting. And so we've decided to move our annual Speakout gathering that we normally do in DC here to California's Capitol. We're watching Governor Newsom be slightly destabilized and the progressive movement in California start to question a lot of the politics in California. And so I believe we are at a pivotal moment. We have a window in time when we can step into politics again here in California and maybe make a difference and maybe engage in a shift, I would say, in what's happening in California. And so won't you please join us? Here's some of the things that we have in mind for that event. Now, this is the 7th year anniversary of when we started with AB 2943 on June 12th in 2018. And earlier this year, California Family Council reached out to us saying, won't you come and do another rally? Because many of the legislators who were here in that time have left office, and we have a new slate of legislators in the Capitol. Many of them don't know who changed is, and they certainly don't know about the testimony. And so they invited us to repeat the rally, and we've been dreaming about what that could look like. Meanwhile, as you notice, in such a small window in time, it was about this time in 2018, in April, that we first heard about AB 2943, which was essentially a conversion therapy ban wrapped in or framed as a consumer fraud bill. When we got started engaging that, Ken and I were minding our own business, trying to start a new ministry called Equipped to Love. And we heard about this legislation and got invited into the Capitol to start sharing our testimonies. And it became really clear to us that this was an uphill battle. And so we are so grateful for everyone who responded to our request for help and supported us as we were engaging this legislation in California. Of course, we had no idea at the time that changed would become something. When we stood on the Capitol steps donning our changed shirts, or when we shared the changed testimony book in legislative offices. But since that time, it's been really fun to be a part of what we believe God has done to join and network together people from across the world sharing the testimony and bringing it into public spaces where not only the church can hear, but also the broader public. And so we think that this is an important time to show up in the California Capitol again. Just yesterday, we had legislation heard in committee on transgender identifying girls in girls' sports. That's biological boys in girls' sports. And so the gender ideology topic is becoming the forefront of conversation among some of the political groups here. But meanwhile, LGB is still strongly protected, as you know. So people are willing to kind of cut off T but preserve LGB. And more people have not even heard of someone leaving LGB. And so we want to bring that testimony back to the Capitol, back to the forefront of the media. We want to do a press conference. We want to share publicly what God has done in our lives. And then also, possibly, I'm working on maybe getting ADF to come and help us do a panel a little bit like we did at the Heritage Foundation a couple of years ago, hosting on Wednesday afternoon after we've gone into the Capitol, sharing our stories and talking about what God has done and the importance of our ministries in our lives. Doing a panel discussion on the upcoming Supreme Court case. And hopefully ADF and maybe even Kaylee Childs will come and share with us as part of that panel. And then on day 2, June 12th, we'll go and do another rally, just like we originally did years ago. Followed that afternoon by, I hope to do a roundtable conversation with all the ministries, join in strategy, pray together, figure out what God is doing share testimonies, and see what God might do, activating the voices again, starting from California. So won't you come, please, help us again in the state of California. Meet us June 11th and 12th. Maybe even come a little bit early, join us for prayer on June 10th, and see what God might do to open the door to revival for the LGBT community. I hope to see you there.